So we're getting into Season 2 now after a mediocre Season 1, and I don't necessarily mean that from a team standpoint, because we ended up going 8-4 in the regular season and ended up losing our bowl game, but from a me-playing standpoint, because I ended up dropping a couple games that ended up going into overtime that were very winnable, and that just means that I just need to clean it up here. And why not have that in Season 2? The other thing we need to do, too, is actually recruit a little bit better. Now, we ended up getting 1 4-star and a handful of 3-stars in the last recruiting class, but they obviously did not come in at great overalls, and not ones that are necessarily going to start out of the gates. A couple of them might, but for the most part, a lot of them aren't necessarily going to make it up to that overall. So we might actually have to take a look at a couple 4-stars and even potentially a 5-star or 2, but we'll definitely be able to tell once we actually see who's available from California that we can actually recruit. But that's not to say that we're not going to actually put some 3-stars on our board as well. But that does mean that we actually might put some guys on the board that we're not anywhere near their top 10 right now. So hopefully we can actually get them interested. And we really do want to get some of these guys that are 4-stars and may as well go after a couple of these guys that are needs, despite the fact that quarterback isn't necessarily one of our needs, but I think we're going to need it down the line. But especially since some of these guys are actually interested in our school, including this right outside linebacker, Clay Brooks, who is a 3-star. I think we might actually be able to get a couple good players. But despite the fact that we ended up putting a lot of guys on the board, we're not really going to be able to recruit a lot of them right off the bat. So I really want to see if any of these 5-stars are actually going to be pretty good for us, as we see that Trimble is going to be a 5-star bust. But again, I think we might actually keep him on the board. His stats really aren't that bad. I mean, being in the 80s in a lot of these might actually be pretty good for us. But again, we want to make sure some of these other guys might be pretty good to go after as well. And even though some of these guys like Joey Anza here are 4-star busts, still think, again, that we're going to end up keeping them on our board. Still, even though they are busts, they're still going to be pretty good. And especially an 82-89 acceleration right outside linebacker that's good in pass coverage, I think that's still going to be really good for our team. And it is always nice to actually find a gem here. So Stephen Favre is actually a 3-star gem at wide receiver. Something I think would be really good. 89 acceleration, 84 speed. Wish that could be a lot better, but I think someone that we might be able to develop down the line. And even though, again, we are going to end up keeping a couple of these busts on the board like Ansa, I still think that they could actually be good for the team down the line. But even though we find someone like Vernon Crumpler, who is a 3-star bust, I mean, 93 throw power, 84 speed, 92 acceleration, and some pretty good accuracy, I think we're going to keep him on the board. But since we aren't going to have hours to really scout everyone and be able to give everyone a scholarship, we're going to go after the guys that are like higher rated, or guys that we're actually pretty close to the top of their list or at the top of their list, and then drop guys that we don't think are really going to fit the bill, like Lutman here. And unfortunately, I only left 25 hours open to give guys scholarships, so unfortunately that is only going to be 5 guys. So I do want to go after these 5-stars just so we don't get completely locked out. Hopefully we'll actually get a couple of them to at least move us up their list, but I think it's going to be a little difficult. I think once we end up upping our skills, obviously, in the recruiting, I think it's going to make it a lot easier, especially at the beginning of the season. Hopefully we can get some guys in as coaches that are going to be able to help us with that too. Thankfully, we don't get locked out on anyone. Thankfully, some of those scholarships actually brought us up to number 9 on some of these boards, but it's going to take a lot more than that to be able to get us all the way up to like a top 8 or even a top 5. So we do have to be a little bit more selective when we end up choosing who to put ours on. And of course, I want to go after some of these guys who are the 5-stars and 4-stars, but we do also need to be a little more realistic and put some hours on some of the guys that we're actually kind of close to the top of their list, but we just need to be able to sway them a little bit more too. So that means guys like Quan Claybrooks here, who does have us number 1, we still need to make sure that he stays interested in us, so let's give him 50 more hours. But I do think it is going to be a pretty tall ask to be able to get a lot of these guys, especially the 4 and 5 stars. And we only have 500 hours to distribute, so again, especially guys like Ansa, Trimble, and guys like that, it's going to be really tough to get them because we just don't have the hours for it. But thankfully, we do end up starting with the bye week in week 0, and that is going to allow us to, again, be able to get a couple more hours here for this next week, hopefully, and be able to really end up winning our first game and really be able to land some of these guys pretty early, because it looks like Redwine and Claybrooks still have us at number 1, so hopefully we can get them sooner rather than later, because Claybrooks is at his top 5, which means that once we end up finding out what all of his motivations are going to be, we can actually start the hard sell. Thankfully, I learned that once from someone in the comments. So, dude, again, I really, really appreciate the advice, because obviously I needed it. I mean, remember in the last rebuild, we only got 1 guy in that first class. Yeah, things could definitely be better than that. Now, unfortunately, I can't really decide between the campus personality or the hometown hero. And honestly, I know we can do the soft sell to be able to figure out which one it is, but I'm going to give it one more week. I just don't want to really be too risky here. But the awesome thing is that Skaggs and Cheeseman, 2 4-stars, do have us at number 1 on their boards, and Cheeseman is getting close to his top 5, so hopefully we can end up landing them too. But unfortunately, we do get locked out on Trimble, and I know there is a possibility that he could open it back up. But honestly, he is a 5-star bust, and as good as he is, number 1 in his position and 4 nationally, I don't think that we're really going to have much of a chance. So let's end up taking him off our board. So unfortunately for us, week 1 is a bye week. I wish we could actually see how we're going to do this season, but it's okay. We'll put that off an extra week, and hopefully we can get some extra hours for some of these guys. Thankfully, no one's really shut us out in this week, so that's a positive thing. The other positive thing is that guys like Redwine and Claybrooks are now in their top 5, even though Claybrooks was last week, and that means that not only can we actually go for the hard sell, as we see we already know what his 3 motivations are going to be. The positive thing is, even though we don't have enough hours to be able to bring them in on visits, it's not really going to matter because our first visit week could be against Cal, and that's in week 4. And thankfully, our first game is going to be against 0-2 Washington State. Now, even though they're 0-2, does that really mean that we're going to be able to beat them? Well, thankfully it does, and not just that, but Carter Schultz ends up getting Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week with 1 interception and 6 tackles. And now that Claybrooks is in his top 3, I really feel like we need to bring him in on a visit, and we do have 0 hours, so that means we're going to have to take some things away, and I think that means we got to take away the DM player, obviously for both him and Redwine. But as much as I really think that we could probably land Ansa and East, I feel like we need to take the chance of actually taking the hours off them and being able to distribute to those guys to be able to bring them in on a visit. We're going to get them back next week, and we can always put extra hours on them next week. So let's end up going with that, and let's hope that that's going to be more than enough to be able to land these 2 guys pretty quickly. And let me tell you, if you ever take a campus tour of San Diego State, you're definitely going to fall in love with it, so we got to sell him on that. And honestly, since all of his motivations fit the hometown hero, there's no way that we're not going to be able to land him pretty quickly. But now that I look at it more, a lot of these guys are in the top 5, so let's end up going for the hard sell, and let's see if we can free up some more hours and also be able to land these guys a little quicker too. And the good thing about that is that actually frees up 30 hours, so we can actually put the DM player and search social media back on both of these guys, and then of course give them back a couple extra hours next week. And then we're also going to be able to bring in guys like Gillikin and also Canty potentially next week as well. All I know is that this season is going to be extremely interesting, especially if we can take down Colorado right now. They're 0-1, and hopefully we can match up with Coach Prime and be able to take them out. And unfortunately we don't, and our championship contender goes down. So we do end up having enough hours to be able to bring in someone like Cheeseman in for a visit, and I think that's going to be in week 8 against San Jose State. Especially since he does have a lot of really green categories here in the things that he wants, and I think again we're going to sell him on that campus lifestyle. But that does mean we get into our first matchup, and that is going to be against Cal, who is 0-2 this season, but obviously has the clear advantage in overall over us. But let's hope we can go out there and be able to take the win over them at home. And this game looks a lot tighter than I was expecting it to be. It is 7-7 right now, almost at the end of the first half, as we get in the backfield and we end up picking up the sack, 4th and 21 now. But now that means that we are way pinned back here, and now we need to find a way to just get out of this area as we end up hitting Napier, and at least we get a little bit of breathing room now. So let's go RPO. Hopefully we can actually hit him out in the flat, which we will, and we're going to get some good yards here. Great block. Tries to go for the spin move. Doesn't get it, but we get all the way up to the 20 almost. So may as well go with the same thing, right? If it's working, we may as well stick with it. And it looks like it's going to work again. Can we get all the way to the outside? We cannot. Doesn't have the speed, but still really good play. And we're really going to have to continue to hurry up because we only have 37 seconds left. We do have all 3 timeouts, so if we hit a pretty big play right here, hopefully we can actually get the timeout. Oh no, that was stupid. And that's going to be picked off, and that means that they're going to be able to get some points here before the end of the half. And I did say I was going to get a little bit better, so I apologize that I lied about that. But let's see if we can actually hit this field goal. We got a long distance to go, but hopefully we got the leg for it. Do we do? You betcha, let's go. And we end up tying the game up. Look, say what you will about my defense, but let me tell you, when it comes to kicking field goals, hey, we got you covered. So let's go. We need to pick up this big stop, and we do. Let's go. 4th and 2, and they're going to have to kick the field goal as well. So that means that they are up by a field goal here. So that means that we're going to run our favorite play right here and go with that RPO. And they're going to get it wide open again. Cuts it right back upfield. Let's go. Davis gets all the way down to the 30-yard line. As much as I'd love to go for that again on 3rd and 2, we're going to go for a little bit of play action right here. We can actually hit him out there. Get a good block. Let's go. Davis gets all the way up and into the end zone. Let's go. And we take our first lead of the day, I think. But that means that our defense has to be really stellar right here, or our offense has to play hero ball. I'm really hoping that's the former and not the latter, as we end up putting a nice little hit on him and he only picks up 3 yards. But they are going to end up going in the no huddle and be able to hurry up. But that's okay. 3 minutes left. We have plenty of time. They have 3 timeouts. So do we. I don't know how conservative they're going to be right here. They end up going right up the middle. Oh, and that's a fumble. And we get the ball back. What a big hit. That's what I'm talking about. Hopefully we can pick up some points here too. That hit stick, my friend. That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely love it. Let's see if we can get another good RPO. Not a great block as we go for the spin. Gets caught up on our own guy, but we pick up 2 yards. So again, we can be a little conservative here. It's not like we're in any rush. So let's go in the motion. And let's actually scramble out a little bit. And let's take it ourselves. Let's go, Duffy. Got a little bit of speed. Go down in bounds. And let's keep that clock running as we go down to the 2-minute warning. At this point, all we need are some really good blocks to be able to get one more first down. We get that one. Let's go. He breaks off that one. And we get a little closer to the first down marker. Let's see if we can get them with a little bit of trickery here on the fake jet. Let's go. Can we get the first down? We do, and a little bit more. And we don't quite get into the end zone, but we're pretty damn close. And honestly, part of me doesn't want to get into the end zone here. So maybe we can get stopped. We do, thankfully. And we can make them waste their last time out. But ultimately, we do want to be able to get into the end zone. So let's see if we can do that right here. Oh, we got plenty of blocks. And we walk right in. And that means we need to pick up a pretty big stop right here down in the red zone. They have no timeouts, only 15 seconds left. We try to get in there, and they pick up the touchdown. You've got to be kidding me. But all we need to do is be able to pick this one up. It's going to come right to us. Oh, no, catch that. Thank you. Now go down, go down, go down. Thank you. And that is how we end up picking up the win against Cal, 24-21. Our defense played really well, and our offense really picked up some really good yards when we needed them. Got in the end zone at the very end, and thankfully, we ended up getting a big win in front of some really good recruits. And thankfully, that was enough to get Claybrooks to commit. However, Redwine is still thinking about it. He did get to his top 3, and it looks like we're still at the top of it right now. But the fact that we did end up picking up a 3-star gem, especially right outside linebacker, it's going to be great, and especially since it frees up 80 hours, that's awesome too. Get 88 acceleration, 84 speed. Not great in man coverage, but the 72 in zone coverage definitely makes up for it. Now, it does look like Redwine is really close to committing, and even though Boise State did offer him a scholarship and is climbing up there a little bit, really hoping that we can really close it out right here. But the freed up hours is going to allow us to put some extra hours on other guys, as well as bring in guys like Dave Matlock here, who again is 32nd nationally. I think he'd be a really great receiver. I mean, 97 speed out of the gate would be absolutely insane. So if we can actually get him to be really interested in us, since we are number 1 on his list right now, that'd be great. So let's end up scheduling that visit. And thanks to the possible hard sells, Student of the Game shows that proximity to home is going to be his 3rd motivation. And that's great because that's what we're going to sell him on. Thankfully, going with all the hard sells did end up allowing us to be able to bring one other person in on a visit. And as much as I'd love to bring in Trey Dukes, it's going to be really hard to leapfrog Oregon. But again, he is a really great free safety. But I really do think that Skaggs is probably going to be the best one to bring in. We are number 1 on his list right now, and it looks like a couple other schools are bringing him in for a visit. So let's make sure that we get that in sooner rather than later. Downside, though, is Week 8 is already taken up, although competitive visit would have been really bad for us. So, unfortunately, we don't have really great matchups coming up. But let's go with Utah State and get them in as soon as possible and be able to sell that campus lifestyle. But hopefully we have a pretty easy game here against NIU. They are 1-2 this season, so hopefully as we sim through this one, we're going to end up coming out to 3-1 on the other side. Oh, and finally, John Redwine ends up committing in the middle of the week. That's great. We have ourselves a potential another quarterback going forward. And Jose Canty, the 4-star tight end, ends up committing as well. That's a nice surprise. Now, the bad news is we ended up losing that game and we're now down to 2-2. But the good news is, again, we got an extra commit here, and we also had the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week. 3 TFLs for Trey White. And the other good news is we didn't get locked out on anyone else. Anyone that might be locked out here, which is absolutely no one, shows that, yeah, we haven't gotten locked out on anyone. That's really, really great. And looking at Jose Canty quickly, 82 catch in traffic, 62 run block, but that's okay. 83 catching. I think he'd be a really good tight end. And looking at all those mentals over there, feel pretty good about him. But just because we ended up landing a couple guys doesn't mean that we can just relax now. We need to make sure that we get all these other guys in, and again, despite the fact that Trey Dukes looks like he might commit to Oregon sooner rather than later, we need to bring him in on a visit and make sure that we end up getting him to commit. Now, the downside here is, unfortunately, we got Cheeseman coming in the same week, and I think that would be a really tough matchup, and we wouldn't be able to end up getting them. So I think that Utah State is probably going to be another good option for him, and hopefully that's just going to be a really good game for us, too. Now, that does mean we're going to be playing a couple games in a row, and might actually be a third one here, too, because Gillikin is not going to be able to come in Week 8 or Week 9, which actually is kind of a good thing. So we're going to have to bring him in for UNLV, too. Hopefully one of these guys is either going to commit to us or be able to kind of come off the board, because as much as I love playing these games, I know I'm not that great in it. But despite all that, I really appreciate all the support that you guys gave me, especially on that last rebuild as well, especially it being one of my first ones too. So really appreciate that. Hopefully this one will go just as well, as we end up taking on Boise State, which is going to be our first conference game. Hopefully we can come out with a big win here and start off 1-0 in the season. And look at that! Cheeseman ends up committing. That's really great to see. Another 4-star and a free safety too. Something we're really going to need. But we do see that a lot of guys ended up committing to other schools, including 4 that went to UCLA. And another Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. This time on offense, Balin Brooks, 93 yards and a touchdown. And unfortunately, we do end up losing, but what is this stuff? I mean, Gillikin, obviously we knew he was probably going to go to Oregon, but Ansa going to UCLA, you have a couple other guys, Hardman going to UCLA, Douglas, and Tupou. Like, dude, that's insane. What does LA have that San Diego doesn't? And those of you that are actually from LA, please don't answer that question. But the good thing here, Addison Gentry is going to be open for this Week 8 visit. It's going to be a really good complimentary visit as well. We're going to sell that proximity to home. But thankfully, the commits and some of the guys that commit to other schools as well frees up some of these hours. And looking at this, Berry Hill, that's going to be a big visit. We need to make sure that we take down San Jose State. I know they're ranked and everything, but come on, man. We have 3 big guys coming. We need to make sure that we end up getting a big win here. But again, the good thing is we do end up freeing up a couple more hours, which allows us to scout other guys. And Ladarius Bishop, I know he's a 3-star. We are number 2 on his list, but 88 speed, 89 agility, 80 tackle. Like, as a 3-star, this guy could be really good, especially as a run stopper. And realistically, we really need to bolster our offensive line. So let's look for this right tackle, which unfortunately we can only see what he has here. 80 strength, 65 speed, but again, 75 pass block finesse, 71 run block finesse. Honestly, I think he'd be someone who could be pretty good, so we'll take the risk. But after this game against Nevada, we are going to be halfway through our season. Hopefully we're going to be sitting over 500, but 2-3 right now with Nevada doing pretty well this season. I don't feel great about it. What I do feel great about is the fact that Cortez East ends up committing to our school. Let's go, 3-star wide receiver, we take it. And we also pick up the win. We are now 3-3 and 1-1 in conference too. But it is a little heartbreaking to see Dukes and Skaggs committing to other schools. We had them come in on a visit soon. It would have been really nice to have them. But hey, it will allow us to focus on more of these guys, as it looks like we're going down on Matlock's list. We're really going to have to make sure that we bring it this week against San Jose State. I know they're undefeated and a top 25 team, but damn it anyways, we need to find a way to win. I know it might not help much, but I kind of want to put some extra hours on them, so let's go with the family and friends and be able to distribute these more a little bit as well, because honestly, especially since we just lost a handful of guys, we're going to be able to put some more hours on some of these other ones. So let's make sure that we try to land as many guys as possible, because again, even though we are looking for quality over quantity, we could potentially find a couple diamonds in the rough, so to speak, despite the fact that like Crumpler here is a bust. But still, you never know what they could develop into. But again, we do have a couple guys visiting this week, especially those top 3 guys. So, and let's make sure that we go out, we show out, and we end up landing them here. But again, that would require us to take down undefeated 20th ranked San Jose State. Now, surprisingly enough, we actually have a better overall than them. So hopefully we can come out with a victory. But again, with them actually overperforming their overall, might be a tough ask. And we're 3-3. They're undefeated. We'll see what ends up happening. Because again, that actually does require me to play a little bit in these games as well. And I think that's going to be a little tough. We might actually have to go with the run here, because as much as I'd love to hit the bubble, I don't know if that's really going to be open, but we're going to do it anyways, damn it. Let's go. Can we barrel into the end zone? We can't. We get down to the 1 though. And even though we should probably just run it in right here, we're going for that RPO again. Why not? He's going to be open in the flat. Never mind, no he's not. And then I'm just going to rely on our line to be able to punch it in. Probably dumb to do on 3rd and goal, but I trust our offensive line. And I should not have. 4th and goal now. But we're on the 1-yard line. No way that Duffy's not going to fall right into the end zone. Thankfully we do. We really needed that touchdown. I'm sorry. We're on the 1-yard line. We're going for it. And I don't know why Duffy ended up striking the Heisman pose there. He is not touching that trophy at all, I swear. So, come on, let's go, guys. Let's end up picking up the stop. They give him the first down on that. That's fair. But we still need to hold them before the end of half. We do have 3 timeouts, so if we end up getting a chance to get the ball back, that'd be nice because they are kind of burning the time here. Can we get in there? Gets over into the flat, ends up going out of bounds. That's awesome. So maybe a little man coverage this time could actually do really well. Maybe not, because they end up getting that right away on a quick pass. But theoretically, we could keep them from the end zone as we... Oh, okay. Fair. That was an incomplete pass. That's fine. That's fine. We can do this again, too. Go an empty backfield as they just go for the quarterback run again, and we stop them. And let's go 35 seconds. Let's keep them out of the end zone. We can definitely do this. No way that we can't. Come on, someone get free over there. And they end up throwing it out of bounds. They're going to have to kick the field goal quickly. And that means we're going to have a little bit of time. Not a ton, but a little bit to be able to pick up an extra score. And they doink it. Let's go. What a huge break for us. I am not going to lie. As we have a 3rd and 6 here, I think we're going to switch this up to a little pass here. Maybe we can hit Davis over in the flats. Oh, we will. We will. Get over there. Great catch. And we get it all the way up to the 33. And now let's be smart this time. And let's not just, throw it on the first couple downs and then run it on the 3rd. Let's see. Can we get out there? Davis has got the speed, but not quite enough to get all the way around. Gets down to the 3. But again, let's just try to pound the ball in right now. I know they got 8 up front, but I'm okay with that. Look at that run right there. Nope, unfortunately, kid couldn't get into the end zone. And so familiar territory here with 3rd and goal. Let's get to the... Oh my gosh, how did he get out there? Someone get over. We actually get it to Brooks and we get it down to the 1-yard line. Are we really going to QB sneak it again? No, we're not. We're going for the RPO. Let's get it out there. Come on now. Get it out. Great block. And we get in the end zone. We take a 1-score lead against the 20th team in the country. So let's see if the defense can continue to nut up here as we got a 3rd and 5. Let's make a big stop. And let's see if we can just not get that stop and hold them to a field goal. But doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But that's not the end of the world. And we still have the 1-possession lead. We're in the 3rd quarter as they end up going for the run. Wow, what a great play. Everyone was just going back in coverage, and unfortunately that leaves them just to run right in. But we have 1 quarter left and a tie game. But somehow through Sim, how did we give up 2 touchdowns? How? Oh my gosh. All right, 4th and 8 now. We just need to pick up the first. Come on now. Great pass all the way out to Tanner. We get out of bounds. But this game is definitely not out of reach yet. We can do this right here. I'm telling you. There we go. Great pass over to Napier. Great little route to come back up. We get down to the 1-yard line. So let's finish this with the jet touch pass. Let's get in the end zone. Let's make our way back to a 1-possession game. Let's go. But unfortunately, they would respond, which means we need to get 2 quick scores really, really quickly and get an onside kick. I don't know how likely that's going to be as we get a big toss out there, but that's going to be batted away. Honestly, the way that we started this game, I thought we had a really good shot at winning, but unfortunately, doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But can we actually hit him deep? Nice catch. And no, that gets knocked out. I don't know why I thought we would ever catch that. Let's be honest here. But that's okay. That is totally okay. Let's go. Let's hit him on the wheel. No, that is, by everyone, that is going to be an interception. And that is how the game is going to end. And they are 20th in the country for a reason. They're playing really well this season. And it just showed in the second half right there. But after that performance by Duffy, dude, honestly, I think we're going to have to go with a new quarterback next season. And that might be Vernon Crumpler here, who just committed. Don't know why he did after that game, but still happy that he did. He may be a bust, but 84 speed, 93 throw power, 92 acceleration. I don't care what his trait is. It might just be normal, but he might be a good one to kind of fill in the gap. But just in case he doesn't work out for some reason, we're going to end up putting Kang on our board. For some reason, we're number 2 on his list. He hasn't gotten an offer yet, so maybe he might just be a hidden gem. Who knows? Plus, honestly, we need to add a couple more guys to our board too. Hopefully, we can end up getting a couple more because especially linemen and also guys in the secondary, we're going to have to really add. But we do only have 90 hours right now, but that's fine. We can actually scout some of these guys. Find out 86 throw power, not too bad, but only a 75 speed, definitely more of a field general, maybe pocket passers. And honestly, I really don't care about his stats. I'm not going to take the time to scout him. I'll just bring him in with a scholarship. Why not? But damn, Denton Cantrell. Actually, he is a 3-star bust, but 96 throw power, 83 speed, 91 acceleration with good accuracy. Why not try it out? But next week when we get the hours, we definitely need to be able to scout these guys and see if they're worthy of a scholarship. Now, unfortunately, it does look like we're probably going to lose Matlock to Stanford. Can't blame him. Great school. But still, it's a little rough that we're going to end up losing him. But other than that, though, it does look like we're still first on a couple guys' boards. Cargile's going to be a little rough. Hopefully we can still get some of these guys in, especially since we do have one guy visiting this week in Cargile. And unfortunately, it looks like a lot of our guys are just guys that are coming in week 10 now. Everyone that was week 9 either committed to another school or already committed to us. So we're actually going to skip this game over Utah State, play the next one against UNLV because we have a handful of guys that are going to be here for that game. And hopefully we just sim a win and we get a 5-star commit, left outside linebacker Addison Gentry. I actually can't believe that. That is great to be able to get a 5-star. But it sucks to lose a game to a team that was 2-5. And now we are 3-5 with 1-3 in conference. And this rebuild is getting a little dicier. And looking at the season stats, man, Duffy has been really rough this season. 1671, 10 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions. Looks like O'Neal has actually come in. He's got 1 touchdown on 59 yards. Not too bad. Rushing-wise, we definitely need to pick it up. Duffy has gotten out on some scrambles. He's got 4 touchdowns on the ground, but Sutton needs to get the ball a little bit more. We might actually have to change the playbook up just a little bit. Brooks, 5 touchdowns. Napier, 4, 570 and 438. We do have 3 games left. I don't think either of them are going to end up hitting 1,000, but still, who knows? Maybe we'll end up going off in a couple games. 9 TFLs for White, 5 for Anderson, along with 4 sacks for White as well. Not too bad. Only got Staley 2 interceptions, so hopefully we can pick that up before the end of the season. And like I said, unfortunately, Matlock did end up committing to Stanford. That is a little rough for us, because I thought he would have been really, really great, especially as a receiver. And Cargile did end up committing to Arizona State. And honestly, that is a little rough for us, and it looks like Stoneberger ends up having championship contender as a big deal breaker. That's rough for us because we were number 2 on his list and the only one that offered him a scholarship. Now we are sitting here with the 16th top class right now, but we can't just leave it there. We do have the 1 5-star and 2 4-stars, but we can definitely get a lot more. And with 320 hours, we have a lot of hours to put on a lot of other guys, so hopefully we can get some more commits. Now despite the fact that a couple of these guys are guys we've already recruited in their busts, still think that we might offer them a scholarship. We're kind of light in California recruits this year. Thankfully, we've gotten a lot of the 5-stars and 4-stars. But again, if we can bring some guys in and have some extra bodies that might be able to develop well, that would be really dope. And it's always nice to find 3-star gems that you didn't think that you were going to find. Marquise Berry is going to be a really good receiver for us. That 93 speed is going to be really good off the bat. And we actually have 2 of our better 3-stars coming this week too. So we need to take on UNLV, and we really need to make up for that game against San Jose State. Now, we have a huge overall advantage over them, but as we've seen when I've played before, not always a big indicator of how the game is going to go. So let's go out there at home. Let's take this win, and let's see if we can get 2 more commits right away. But it looks like Sims had a boring time here as we are down 3-0 in the second, and we need to find a way to be able to pick up some yards. Can we get that out to him? Nope, that gets swatted away, and we are turning that over. Probably shouldn't have gone for it, but it was going to be a 56-yard field goal. Don't think we have the range for that, despite the fact that the game was going to allow us to do it. And we've hit some from like 40-something, but never anything that deep. And are you kidding me? We're going to allow them to get in the end zone? How can no one stop him? Sorry, that is just crazy to me. I would have thought that we would have had the skill to be able to stop him. But, oh no, he gets nudged, but he gets free. No, but it gets just beyond him. If he wouldn't have gotten nudged, I think he would have had that one, but that's okay. We can still pick this one up right here. As we do, let's go Brooks. Gets upfield, gets all the way to the 25. And that does give us a chance to score here. We're down in the red zone, and there we go. Great pass. Brooks gets open. 4th and 1 though. So let's go with our favorite play right here. Let's go with that RPO little swing pass. Let's go. We get it out there. Get up there. We don't. We turn it over. But we get it back with them not scoring, which is great. And so we can get that leaked out there. 3rd and 5. We can't get to the first down marker again. We're getting the first down on this one. I really don't give a shit what anyone says. There we go. Beverly, thank you for holding on to that one. And unfortunately, Sim allowed us to not get a score. Let's go. Let's see if we can hit this one. This is a deep one. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit this. It's going to be tough. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to be there. That is way left. And unfortunately, we end the half with no points. And yeah, we're getting shut out still. We need a new quarterback, damn it. We're going to look at these stats and see that he is just not having a great season, especially not in this game either, as we get it out there at least. And come on, we need to at least score on them. So come on, let's get in the end zone pretty damn quickly. There we go, Napier. Perfect on the RPO, and finally we're not scoreless. But they'll respond with another score, and I think this one is definitely out of reach now. Now we're just playing for our jobs. There we go, right down the sideline. Great catch, and he hangs on to it. I'm going to just treat this like practice a little bit, because I know that they don't want to be able to give up some scores. That's going to be picked. No, not quite. Good. And I don't know why they have the safeties playing so shallow. Let's see if we can hit Brooks on this one. I don't think we're going to be able to, but we can scramble out and pick up a ton of yards here too. Let's go, Duffy. Get out of bounds. Come on, let's make this look respectable, right? Come on, guys. There we go, right across the middle. Great catch, too. I don't know why the clock continued to run, even though we had the first down, but that's okay. I'm not going to complain at that. Let's just run this one right up the middle. That was dumb. And I accidentally hit the timeout button, so, hey. Let's see if we can just get a score in the end zone. But unfortunately, on 4th and 5, I don't think that we're going to get in the end zone here. This is going to be tough. We need a really big play. Oh, no, that's... Oh, I didn't see him there. He blended in. Sorry. What are we doing? Don't you dare let him take it back for a pick six. Come on. Although a pick six definitely would have been the cherry on top of this one. So we go down 28-7 to UNLV. At home. If we think we're going to get anyone to sign, we are fooling ourselves. And don't get me wrong, I'm not playing well, but it's a lot of sim too, you know? And for some reason, we still got to commit after that. We'll take that though. Another wide receiver. And no one ended up committing to another school. Only one locked us out. And thankfully, since we do have the hours, let's start sending the house on a lot of these guys that we haven't really started scouting yet. A lot of them are in their top 8 or in their top 10, so not like we're going to be able to go for a hard sell anyways. They're still pretty early in their process, so let's make sure that we find a way to land them. And thankfully, we are on a bye week. We get a chance to relax a little bit, but if we don't win out this season, we're not even getting to a bowl game. But we do get a middle linebacker, Berryhill, to end up committing. That's really great to see. And thankfully, we're on the road this week against Hawaii. Hopefully, we can come out on top. We're going to free up a couple more hours next week because we did end up getting some guys in on a visit this week. As we end up getting middle linebacker Ladarius Bishop, we could always shuffle them around a little bit too because I know we've gotten a couple of them. And unfortunately, we do lose, which means we are not bowl eligible this year. Really rough season in terms of actually playing. But hopefully, this class plus the one that we just brought in last season will bring some changes in Season 3. And unfortunately, despite the fact that we can schedule a couple more visits, it looks like a lot of these guys are already locked out of it, so we just really need to hope for the best. So even though I should probably look for some other guys, I think that means that we're just going to put a little extra hours on these guys as well, because if we can add an extra 25, I think that's going to be good for a lot of them. But now we're just kind of playing for pride. 3-7 this season. Hopefully we won't end up 3-8 after Wyoming, but who knows at this point. No matter what happens, we get Marquise Berry ends up committing. That's always good to at least get one every time. And thankfully we do pick up the win. Let's go. And that means that this last game, despite the fact that, again, we are not bowl eligible, it's going to be a really important one because even though we don't have a ton of guys that are going to be visiting this week, we got a couple, and we really want to be able to sign them. And thankfully we do have the offseason as well. But again, we really want to make sure that we come out on top in this game against New Mexico again. We had a hard time last season, but hopefully this time it'll be a little bit easier. 73 overall. And again, UNLV was kind of down there too, but let's go out there and actually pick up a victory this time. We need one. Mainly because I really do want to redeem myself, and thankfully we have a chance to do that pretty early on in this game as we end up getting it out there in the flat. We get some really good blocks, gets around, kid gets up to the 1 yard line. Let's just pound this in. Or we can go for the jet touch pass. Let's see if we have the speed to get out there. We just got a major hole up the middle, and we got ourselves the first score of the game, and thankfully it's early on too. And thankfully it looks like when we don't have any pressure on the season, that's when we end up doing best. As we end up hitting Napier, he was wide open. We got ourselves a first down again. And if we can do it once, we can do it again on that jet touch pass. Let's get it out there. We got the speed. No, we don't. So maybe not the right call, but we can still make up for it here. We're only 8 yards away. Let's do it right here. Great blocks again. Well, oh, he let go of the block and the guy should have come and tackled us, but he didn't, and we just sneak into the end zone. Hopefully that's just a product of the low overall, you know what I mean? But my goodness, we got a couple good scores early on. I should have just fucking went out earlier. Oh my lord, 4th and 3. But that will allow us to be able to extend this to a 3-possession lead. And we got this pretty well in hand in the first half. And I don't know how, but New Mexico ended up scoring 10 points. And so we only have a 1-possession lead again. But can we get over? We cannot. He's got way too much speed. Good coverage. That's on me for thinking that he could actually get the speed on him. But apparently not. He gets wide open. Sirianni, let's go. Another first down. Nice to see us picking up pretty good first downs too. Let's go. We got Napier. Oh my lord, he gets hit right as he catches it. But still, pretty good 6 yards. He might not be able to move anymore, but still a good 6 yards. So let's go. Come on. Big play right here. No, 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 no. I hit the wrong. That is not who I wanted to go to. I did not want to go for the wheel. I'll be honest with you, though. I wanted to go for the post. I don't even think that was open. But either way, that's going to be a pick 6. And yeah, at half, it's going to be tied again. So maybe I am the problem. Huh. Oh my gosh, that is not even close. Did he seriously catch that? That blows my mind. Holy shit. All right, that's fine, though. Let's get some good blocks. Let's just get it out into the flat. Kid, little spin move. And that did not fool a damn person. So let's go. We need to hurry up here. 45 seconds left. We do have all 3 timeouts, but again, we just need to be conscious of a lot of things. Let's get this deep. Get over there, buddy. There we go. Good catch. But it comes out. Are you kidding? We tried to go for the secure catch, and he just couldn't hold on. My goodness. Come on now. We need to pick those up. Speaking of picking things up, let's hit this on the out. Beverly gets out of bounds at about the 41. And again, we need to remember that we do have all 3 timeouts. As we get him on the corner, that almost got snagged. So I guess the computer was not happy about me saying that maybe just their low overall that, oh my gosh, thankfully that ends up just being an incomplete pass. But my bad. I will never talk trash on the computer again as long as you allow me to get some points here. And they definitely sniffed that out. But that's going to allow this to be a 58-yard field goal, or, as they're calling for it, a punt. Can you believe that? And things do not seem to be getting any easier, as they have it down in the red zone, 1st and 5. Gosh, I can't believe they got us to jump off sides, but let's go. We end up taking them down in the backfield. That is a loss of 1. So pressure is what's going to get this done. We got to send it right here. Let's go 5. Wow, great RPO and good option on that too. Really smart choice. I don't know why I'm praising the other team. Good for them though. Either way, let's get in the backfield. Oh, bro, you got to get over there. You saw him. You saw his eyes. Or maybe he didn't, and that's just me hoping for the best. But let's go. Come on, 2nd and 5. We can't allow them to get in. 3rd and 1 now. So they're going to have to go with a really quick pass or just to pound it in here. 3rd and 1. Let's jam them up the middle. There we go. We get them down for a 4th and 1. And thankfully, we are going to hold them to 3 as they hopefully just kick the field goal right here. They do not run into the kicker. That's all right. Only down by 3. Like, this is not insurmountable. You know what I mean? As we end up hitting Sirianni for a 1st down. And it looks like things are not going well in Sim, unfortunately. There we go. What a move by Brooks. Holy shit. You see that route he had? Damn, fooled them. That is what you want to see out of your receivers. And man, that's going to get him some more touches down the line for sure. As we hit him out in the flat, get some good blocks. Not quite. We get up to the 5-yard line, and that is how the 3rd quarter is going to end. But again, we are knocking on the door, and I think we can do this with the bubble screen out here. Let's go. Good blocks. Get to the outside. Let's go, Sirianni, my dude. Touchdown that actually puts us up by a good 4 points, as long as we kick this extra point. And thankfully, we're holding on to the lead with 4 minutes left to go as we are in the red zone and go for the jet touch pass. Get some speed. Let's go. That might be... Oh, that might be a touchdown! Let's go! What a spin move, and Napier gets around and picks up the touchdown. And now we're going to be up by 2 possessions, and hopefully we can put this one away. Sorry, I know sometimes I get a little too hyped. My bad. I need to get a better microphone so that really flushes some of that out, but it's okay. Hey, maybe one day. And hopefully we could have picked that off to be able to end the game. But thank you, Sim, for allowing the defense to be able to pick that one up. Very proud of you. Let's go. That's going to be a 1st down to Brooks yet again. And we got it down to the 28. And even though they couldn't pick up the 1st down, this is going to put it at a full 2-possession game if we can make it. And hopefully that is going to be enough. Let's go. 2 full possessions. They only have a minute left, 1 timeout. I think we're fine. They're going to have to go deep on some of these as we finally do get some pressure in. And we get the sack. And thankfully that sack leads to the game. 34-20, we finally pick up the victory. And hopefully we'll get 2 commit screens on the next one. But it's really nice to end the season on a win like that, especially in conference. And Duffy, 317, 4 touchdowns. Trying to try out for his job next year, but we'll see how the other guys are. And good to see him with only 1 interception, too. 67% completion, not bad. We do need to get it more on the ground. Again, we're going to have to probably change up our playbook a little bit. But Brooks, man, 10 for 113, the touchdown. I've been pronouncing his name completely wrong this entire game. Cianfrini ended up 52 yards and a touchdown, too. Napier, 79 and a touchdown. And Kid, 26 and a touchdown as well. Brother, if you were real, I am so sorry if you were watching this. I doubt it, but, you know, you never know. But either way, 4 TFLs here. We have 4 sacks total. 1 interception, obviously, when I was not on the field. And no forced fumbles. But still, it was enough to be able to pick up the victory over New Mexico. And finally, we do end on a good note. And on a win. And thankfully, it is enough to get Sam Ridley, someone on the offensive line, committed. Along with Jaron Hennessy, another receiver. Another quarterback in Kentrell, too. 3 guys committing, and no one committed to another school yet. That is good to know. And look at that. Stoneburner ends up opening back up because our championship contender goes up a little bit, and we're still number 1 on his list. So what do you say we end up hard selling him? We already know what 2 of his motivations are, so I think it's going to be that TV time, but just in case. But it is going to be that TV time. That's going to be good. We're also going to be able to contact his friends and family. And then this fullback, he's not great. But still, being able to land someone who might be able to block like that too is going to be really good, especially if we end up changing up the playbook a little bit too. So I really want to focus on the guys that we have on our list right now. We do have 5 hours left, but again, we'll end up redistributing that next week. It's only 5 hours. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Plus, we have a bye week this week anyways. And there we go. Ricky Farrell, another wide receiver commits. Jimmy Haywood, another middle linebacker. And unfortunately, Daly, the punter, ends up committing to USC. Might have to find another one down the line. So if I'm being honest, I was not really happy with how much motivation Jeremy Fuller was giving. So we're going to end up firing our defensive coordinator. We're going to keep our offensive coordinator because we just hired him last year. Who knows, maybe things can pick up. If we change to a spread, maybe we're going to be a little bit better. And we can end up choosing a new defensive coordinator next week. And another free safety, Joe Polk, ends up committing. Same with Matt DeMarco, defensive tackle. And Danny McKnight, a left end. Dude, we got a lot of positions here that we really needed. And hopefully we can get someone who's going to have stats like this in the coming years, because only 1 interception. Kate Klubnik, dude. Really, really great season. Thankfully, there are a handful of guys here that are running at 3.35, but Cameron Hart is definitely one that I think might be a little bit better. He is a level 21, and that motivator and the tactician tree are going to be really good. We could use the help in the recruiting, don't get me wrong, but still, I think it would be someone that's really good. Nasib Prestige out of the gate. Not too bad either. And it is early National Signing Day. Let's get him out of here. He did not commit. But still, we got Farrell, and we can actually get a chance to see these guys' development traits. And Farrell is going to be a star. That's awesome. Haywood, normal. Same with Paul. DeMarco's an impact. Of course, normal for McKnight. Clay Brooks, one of the first guys that we signed, is an impact 3-star. Same with Redwine. Canty is an impact. Cheeseman, 4-star elite free safety. We do have an impacted with East. Crumpler is a normal. We have an elite with Gentry, too, a left outside linebacker. I think our defense is going to be good in the coming years. A star with Favre. Barry Hill is a normal. Same with Bishop. Barry, Ridley are both impact. Hennessy is a star. Cantrell is going to be a normal. But to see a couple of elites on this board makes me really hopeful for the coming years. And unfortunately, that defensive coordinator did not want to come coach at our school. That's a little rough. Don't tell me that we have to go with someone like Alani Cheek, who's only a level 16. But again, having the motivator along with the tactician might not be bad. Again, C Prestige, hopefully he can come in and actually be a really good coach for us, especially on the defense. And thankfully, he did decide to join the team, so we got ourselves a defensive coordinator who hopefully will coach those elites up really well. But as we get to the end of the season, we see that Georgia ends up beating A&M 27-25 in the national championship. Good for them. And thankfully, we only have 3 guys that are looking to end up transferring. Hopefully we can actually persuade them, because I don't want to lose our strong safety, which we ended up doing. Same thing with our right end, who decided to stay, which is great. And come on, Morrow. You can stay? No, you can't. And unfortunately, we do lose a handful of other guys to graduation. Moretti is going to be tough to lose, 83 overall middle linebacker, but we did bring in a lot of guys to be able to make up for that. And thankfully, before we even get to the offseason, Stoneburner ends up committing to our school as well, and I'm hoping because he is a gem, he is at least a star. And we do only have a handful of guys that are transferring here from California, but let's go. Some of them are big needs. And even if it's not a need like tight end or left end, honestly, I feel like we can bring them in and hopefully we can end up getting them to commit. Be really nice to get a couple extra guys. And since we have 600 hours, we have a chance to be able to scout every single one of these guys and also be able to offer them scholarships as well. And we're also going to start to send the house on a lot of these guys, especially guys that, you know, we're maybe not number one on the list for, but especially this left end Wagner. Again, transfer freshman, and looking at his stats too, 89 strength, even though it's only a 65 speed, still as a left end, could be a great run stopper. And hopefully as we send through the weeks, we're going to be seeing some really positive screens here. And unfortunately, we don't see a commit, but we are number one on a lot of lists. And by the way, since I realized I forgot to do it at the end of the season, mainly because it just wasn't going to look good, let's look at the stats quickly. Duffy, 2,659, 19 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He got on the positive side, and we'll take that. Duffy was our leading rusher with 5 touchdowns too. It's unfortunate that Sutton only had 328 and 3 touchdowns. Brooks came close to hitting 1,000, but 904 with 9 touchdowns as well. 6 touchdowns for Napier. Defensively, White was definitely one of our best ones, along with Virgin Morgan. 9-7 TFLs and 5 and 7.5 sacks respectively. Really great to see. 2 interceptions from Bayer, but unfortunately, nothing else besides that. And now that we're getting into the top for some of these guys, I think we really need to bring a lot of them in on visits, even if they're not going to be, you know, a big player like Heim here, who is a bust. But still, I think it's going to be really nice to have them. So as we start closing in on some of these recruits, as we get into week 4, we do get a strong safety, Hunter Nowell, ending up committing. We also have Grant Bucky. We also have Melvin Wagner. We got a lot of guys here. David Banks, cornerback. Dominique Heim, fullback. We got a lot of good guys here. But we do have 2 guys that ended up committing to other schools, but still, good haul. That only leaves us with 2 more guys to end up bringing in. And with this, honestly, we're going to try to guess the hard sell. We already know what he doesn't want. We just need to find something that matches, like prestigious. But since Conference Spotlight would be better for us, we're going to hope that it's going to be that one, and let's still schedule that visit for this week. And again, let's hope that it's proximity to home. And since we have the extra hours, there are a couple guys that are still left here. Only 1 and 2 stars, but hell, why not? If we need to cut them next season, we can cut them. But actually, looking at their stats, I don't know if I want a corner that only has 59 man coverage and also 82 speed with a 55 zone. Never mind, we'll take them off the list. Rojas, on the other hand, maybe not great, but you know what? Might potentially be good for a blocker. So last week of the offseason recruiting, do we get anyone else to come to the school? We do not. They all end up going to different schools, but that's fine. I'm really happy with the class that we have. So with a class of 25 guys, including a 5-star and 2 4-stars, not too bad. 31st in the country. Unfortunately, haven't cracked the top 25 yet, though. But it is good to see, again, all of the dev traits here. Farrell, of course, a star. Stoneburner came in as an impact, which is awesome. Thankfully, we have a lot of impacts down here as well. We do have normal, unfortunately, with Nowell, but we do have an impact with Bucky, normal for Wagner, same with Banks, and same with Heim. So, again, not necessarily great from the transfer portal, but honestly, this class is really damn good, and I'm excited to see what they do next season. But man, we've brought in a ton of quarterbacks. Maybe not the smartest thing, but I see Rambo here, who is a 73 overall with a 90 speed, 94. And honestly, we're going to need one of them to try to move over to halfback, unless we can actually get one of our wide receivers, which is an incredibly full room. But realistically, all these guys are going to be better as a receiver. We just need to find a way to work them all in. Now, unfortunately, our line is something that we're really going to have to bolster in the offseason, because Garbutt is only a 65 overall. Barron's going to be our main building block here with an 81 overall. And actually, we might be able to move Vernon over to left tackle as well. That way, we'll have someone who's a little bit better over there, and I think that's going to be it's going to be really good for us. And unfortunately, as you can see, not a lot of guys that are going to be really good right off the bat. But if we move Lorenzo Core over to center, he becomes a 67 overall, which, don't get me wrong, I understand is not phenomenal, but it might be enough to be able to get him to start. Now, in terms of defense, man, we are just loaded with left ends and right ends. Hopefully we can actually move a couple to linebacker, because not that we're looking necessarily thin there, but we could actually probably use a couple guys there. Our middle linebackers look pretty good. Berryhill and Haywood actually come in pretty well, and I think are going to be able to get some playing time, although Cartwright is going to be really good as well. Again, I think we're set up really well for the future. Even our corners look really good. We got a little bit of depth at free safety, including Cheeseman, who's going to come in and be a starter right away. And then now over there at strong safety, who we just brought in as a transfer, which is actually really great. Hulk quickly, I just want to see, would actually stay the same at free safety or strong safety, so I think we're going to keep him there. But honestly, I really like the team that we brought in. But I think we're going to have to move Zechariah Ramirez over to kicker. We don't have one right now, but honestly, he's probably going to be playing kicker and punter. So not a ton of position changes, and our overall does not look good. But again, I'm really hoping that some of the guys that we brought in, my hope for them is that, especially over the years, they're going to end up getting a little bit better. And hopefully that 5-7 is going to, again, flip to the other side of 500. But here we go. We're going to get to see what training results are. Do we get any better? Not bad. We go up to an 84. And again, not a lot of big changes here, but still not bad. Duffy is up to an 85. Which isn't bad, but honestly, Davis, Rambo, and Mama are actually going to be pretty good too. But I think we got to start out with Duffy. An 85 overall is not bad to start. Sutton is an 86. Again, a fullback goes up to an 80. That is really cool to see. Wide receivers, Brooks ends up going up over 80. Cianfrini is going to be a 79. We do have a tight end, Tanner, who's going to be a 78. Again, our offensive line is looking a little bit better now after the training. It's good to see everyone's in the 70s and actually looking pretty good. Our ends are in the 80s too. Of course, our D tackles, high 70s, not bad. Our linebackers, 180, a couple in the 70s. But again, a lot of guys that we ended up recruiting. And even as we get in the secondary too, 81 overall from both of our corners. We have a 76 with our free safety, 70 with our strong safety. But despite the fact that we didn't go up a ton in overall, it's good to see that we're, pretty much in the mid 80s for everything. And I think once we start to get more skill points and we're able to get some better coaches, maybe we can actually go up a little bit more. Now, encouraging transfers, we have a roster size of 83. And honestly, we really don't need to really push anyone out. But honestly, I don't think this guy's ever going to see the field. 56 overall, I think you'd be better off at a different school. So I am so sorry, dude. You're going to have to go over there. I think we're going to keep Pringley, though. 93 speed, who knows what's going to end up happening down the line. But as we simulate through the rest of the offseason and get into week 0, again, our team is actually looking a little bit better. A really rough season too, but again, a lot of the guys that we ended up bringing in, I think are going to make a really big impact, especially a year or two down the line. Really, some of the elites, I think, are going to be really big cornerstones in our defense and guys that I think are going to, again, be really big for us for the next 3 or 4 seasons. Now, again, we're not going to look forward into season 3 yet. We're just going to leave it here. Know that we're an 84 overall, and hopefully we can end up going out there being better than 500, and hopefully this time we're actually going to make it to a bowl game. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys have any comments on this rebuild, or even kind of the format of like one season at a time, or just everything in one video, guys, let me know down in the comments. Again, I really appreciate the feedback, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys have given me lately. But again, if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure to go down and drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.